Hello, BookTube. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to talk today about a subject that is a popular one in the BookTube community, and that's dark academia. And those are stories that are set on college or university campuses, and there is usually some element of kind of secret or forbidden knowledge. There is usually they're usually very atmospheric, kind of gothic kinds of literature. And one of the most well-known examples of dark academia is a work of literature by Donna Tartt called The Secret History. And The Secret History came out in, I think, the early 1990s. It was Donna Tartt's first book. I read it in 1996 as I was starting graduate school. I had moved from my home on the East Coast out to New Mexico to take up a grad school program, and in the first few months of that experience, I wasn't working yet. I was just taking classes at night, and I just was sort of wandering around the campus most of the days and going to bookstores. And one of the books I came across was this book. So it was a very powerful piece of reading that sort of just on its own was unique and captivating and mesmerizing, but it also was very had an impact on me just because of the setting I was in and the transition I had made in my life and kind of the new life I was living. So this book really kind of put the hook in me. And the story of The Secret History is about a college student named Richard Papin who lives in California but has relocated to the East Coast to go to a college in New England. I don't know if it ever refers to it as being in Vermont, but in New Hampshire or Vermont, up in the northern New England states. And I don't remember what he originally was supposed to be majoring in, whether he was an English major or pre-med or something. But he has this background in Greek. He has taken Greek classes before, and he's kind of interested in, not necessarily majoring in that, but he wants to continue his education in it. But when he tries to kind of add one of the Greek classes, he's told that he can't add the course or get into this professor's classes because this professor has a very unique existence on campus. He teaches a select group of students, and his classes are not open to the rest of the college community, and he only accepts this limited number of students, and so you just can't add his class through the normal way that you would do at a college. And so Richard is very curious about all of this, and so he attempts to talk to the professor to find a way to add this man's classes, and the professor kind of sort of shunts him off. And so a few weeks go by, and Richard is sort of getting into his college career, but he becomes aware of the students that are in this professor's class, and they all hang out together. There's a kind of a quiet, sort of stoic leader of the group. His name's Henry. There is a kind of goofy, oddball, but kind of jock-like student that everyone calls Bunny. And then there are a pair of fraternal male-female twins, Charles and Camilla. I think there might be one other student, I don't remember. But Richard kind of starts to notice these students. He gets very curious about them. And one day in the library, he strikes up a conversation with them as they are wrestling with trying to translate a Greek piece of literature. And to make a long story short, Richard eventually sort of worms his way into joining this sort of select group of students. He drops all the rest of his classes because one of the other kind of odd things about this group and this professor is the professor teaches all of their courses. And he has this theory that too many different teachers sort of confuse the students' minds. So this teacher kind of handles all of the students' courses except for maybe one or two things. But this is a very kind of close-knit, selective, exclusive group. And so Richard sort of falls into this group. And I mean, at first there's like this little bit of, understandably, there's kind of this wall between Richard and the other students as he tries to sort of get, kind of get brought in by the group. But after a while, he does kind of get accepted by this group, and sort of his college life kind of takes off. I'll read the back cover of the book, which will kind of allude to what I've said, but I wanted to give you a little bit more of a background. So the back cover of the book describes the book in this way. It says, Richard Papin had never been to New England before his 19th year. Then he arrived at Hampton College and quickly became seduced by the sweet, dark rhythms of campus life. In particular by an elite group of 5 students, Greek scholars, worldly, self-assured, and at first glance highly unapproachable. Yet, as Richard was accepted and drawn into their inner circle, he learned a terrifying secret that bound them to one another. A secret about an incident in the woods in the dead of night where an ancient rite was brought to brutal life and led to a gruesome death. And that was just the beginning. So that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And Donna Tartt has written 3 books. I might have mentioned The Secret History was her first book. The second book was The Little Friend, or My Little Friend, which is set in the South, where Donna Tartt is from. And her most recent book was The Goldfinch, which was made into a movie. She has been writing for like 30 some years and has written 3 books. She has kind of her own aura about her, which I think is really interesting. And but so that's The Secret History. And I mentioned this book because I was watching a video by Books with Sam, which I will link to down in the description. And the subject of Sam's video had to do with books that he wished, that books that were so good he wished he could sort of erase his memory, and so he could go back and read them and enjoy them in the same way that he did originally. And so he put the question to his readers and subscribers, what books do you feel the same way about, that you would love to just be able to kind of erase your memory for at least that part of the, for at least erase your memory in terms of having read that book, so you could go back and read that book again and kind of get the same enjoyment out of it. And so the book I mentioned in the comments on his video was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. And so I wanted to part of the reason I wanted to make this video is I wanted to sort of give a little bit of an extended follow-up about The Secret History and my comments on Sam's video without writing a kind of book-long comment on his video comment thread. So I wanted to do that, but I also wanted to, for people who love The Secret History and are looking for another piece of dark academia that would make them feel like they were reading the Secret History, or a book that they would potentially like equally as well, I wanted to recommend The Temple Vanishing by Rachel Donohue, which came out in 2020. Rachel Donohue is, I think, from Ireland. The Temple Vanishing was an Irish bestseller and finalist for the Irish Book Awards Newcomer of the Year, it says on the back cover. Again, this was Rachel Donohue's first book. And I don't know if it's set in Ireland. It probably is. I thought it might be set in the UK somewhere. But the Temple Vanishing is another book that is set on a campus, although this is the story is set on what I'm pretty sure is a high school girls boarding school, and the story sort of centers around 2 main characters. There is Louisa, who is a new student to the school. So there's a little bit of a parallel there with the secret history where Richard, you have kind of the outsider Richard coming onto the campus. In this case, sort of the outsider coming on to campus in this sort of exclusive girls' school is Louisa. And Louisa is a kind of poor student, but she has gotten a scholarship. So she is kind of an outsider to this group in more ways than one, class-wise, and just sort of really kind of an outsider. But she meets at this school a kind of another somewhat outsider student who just is kind of very idiosyncratic and kind of has her own sort of mysterious quirks, and that's Victoria. And so these two girls get to know one another, and they eventually sort of bond with an art teacher who has just joined the school. His name is Mr. Lavelle. And so, again, like the secret history, you have kind of this sort of tight-knit group, this sort of somewhat secret, exclusive group of students with a teacher. And so that sort of lies at the center of the drama of the story. And the story of the Temple Vanishing is told from two different narratives. One is the narrative that is told by Victoria, and the other narrative is told by a journalist. And these narratives also occupy two different time periods. Louisa's narrative starts when she comes to the school, which is in like the 1980s or 1990s, I think. And the journalist's narrative is 25 years later, as she is sort of narrating the story of these students, which probably is a good cue for me to read the summary of the book on the back cover. It says, Louisa is the new scholarship student at Temple House, a drafty, imposing cliffside boarding school full of girls as chilly as the mansion itself. There is one other outsider, an intense and compelling student provocateur named Victoria, and the two girls form a fierce bond. But their friendship is soon unsettled by a young art teacher, Mr. Lavelle, whose charismatic presence ignites tension and obsession in the cloistered world of the school. Then one day, Louisa and Mr. Lavelle vanish without a trace, never to be found. Now, on the 25th anniversary of the disappearance, one journalist, a woman who grew up on the same street as Louisa, delves into the past, determined to uncover the truth. She finds stories of jealousy and revenge, power and class. But might she find Louisa and Mr. Lavelle too? Told in alternating points of view, the Temple House Vanishing is tense, atmospheric, and page-turning, with a shocking, ingenious conclusion. So I just wanted to recommend The Temple Vanishing by Rachel Donohue to anyone who really liked or loved The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Rachel Donohue has also written an additional book. Let's see if I've got that here. I do. It is called The Beauty of Impossible Things. I didn't like this book as much, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. And so for any of you who have read The Secret History, I encourage you to pick up, look for the Temple House Vanishing. The Temple House Vanishing, very powerful book. Really an emotional gut punch. Very atmospheric. I got really sucked into the story and really drawn into the characters. Very hypnotizing. And there's just, as the back cover says, just a very imaginative, ingenuous sort of wrap up to the story. And it's the type of book that really left me with a kind of book hangover, which is a term I have just heard on BookTube in the last few months. Just the kind of book that when you're done reading it, just sort of, it's so emotionally powerful and draining that you just sort of can't immediately just go read anything else. It just really kind of puts a hold on you. So so thanks for watching. I will link to the video that was done by James, in which he was talking about, you know, these books he, you know, would like to erase his memory on so he could reread it again. But I think The Secret History and The Temple Vanishing are both works of dark academia that I think I would gladly, you know, have a part of my brain erased, so I would have no memory of these books, so I could read them again and enjoy them. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will be back soon with another bookish video. Thanks. Bye.